Hello and welcome to a very special live stream edition of the Established to Run show. My name is Adam Levitan. I'm one of the co-founders here at ETR. As always, I am joined by Evan Silva. And tonight, Evan, we are doing a $350 buy-in FFPC season-long draft. This is not an expert league. This is not a best ball league. This is a normal season-long league, which we will play out. We will manage the team. We will try to win the $500K first place prize. Evan, new beautiful home. What's going on?
Yep, new hat as well. I'm sad that you didn't mention that, but yeah, no, we got this is gonna be a long draft. I mean, this might take 2 hours, I think, and I think we're gonna crush it. I mean, but the thing is that I don't really love the draft spot from which we are picking. We're at 1.04. I think that this is not one of my favorite draft spots. We talked on a recent ETR podcast about the best spot to pick. I think that at this point, I like the ends. I like either getting Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley or Zeke Elliott up top, or hitting the back end, and you can get some really, really good value at the back end. And I don't love our draft spot, but hey, we're going to make the best of it, and I think we're going to do really, really well.
All right, draft starts here in 37 seconds. We do have 1.4, as Evan said. I do expect Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, and Ezekiel Elliott to be the first 3 picks in this draft, but you never know. We will always see. I will say this about
the obvious question, Adam, is if those 3 guys go, then who are we taking?
Yeah, so from a positional scarcity perspective, I think Alvin Kamara is the no-brainer. I think
I don't think it's a no-brainer. I mean, I think that George Kittle is actually really in play here. Actually, I was in a FFPC draft recently. It went 1.03. But I just want to throw that out there. I think at the end of the day, if those 3 go like we expect, then I do think that we're going to land on Kamara.
Yeah, so we actually have, and we're going to be drafting off of our FFPC top 300 rankings, which are up on the site. They are adjusted for the tight end premium format, and that's why Evan's talking about George Kittle so high, because of the tight end premium format. Right. They're also adjusted for the fact you only have to start 2 wide receivers. They're adjusted for the fact that you have 2 flex spots. You can start up to 4 running backs. That makes these FFPC leagues skew extremely running back heavy. But I regardless of the format, the running back drop off is so precipitous that I don't like passing on Alvin Kamara, on Saquon, on Zeke, on these guys that McCaffrey that have such high expectations. So so we're on the clock here, and it did go.
Of course it did. Of course it did.
Zeke went second, CMC first, and Saquon third. I think we should take Alvin Kamara. I could also make cases for Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams, despite the depth of wide receiver, but I think given the position scarcity, Alvin Kamara is the pick here. I'm going to pull the trigger as long as you give the okay.
Yep, take him.
Generally speaking, about this FFPC format, we are going to be looking for correlation. Michael Leone wrote an article for us about how stacking is plus EV in season long. That went for all season long formats, especially in this FFPC format where you have to win your league or get second in your league. You have to get to the playoffs. You have to win your playoffs. Then you go to the championship round. In order to win the $500K first place prize, you have to beat all of the best teams in the final. I believe it's 2 to 3 weeks. So you need a highly correlated team, or you should be looking to make a highly correlated team in the event that, if you do a, Giants stack, then Daniel Jones has a huge game, and Evan Ingram has a huge game, and Saquon has a huge game, and it all comes together due to pace, due to plays, et cetera, et cetera. So I would encourage people to go and read that article about stacking in season long. It applies not just to formats like this, but to all of them. So we're going to be looking for opportunities to stack. I don't love a Saints stack. I think Evan does not either. So we don't have to stack with Kamara.
No, they're not a good team to stack. Because we didn't even get Michael Thomas. We didn't even get the best receiver on the team. We did get the best RB on the team. We see Miles Sanders go here at 105. I mean, we talked about on a recent podcast how his ADP has just been skyrocketing to the point where if you're using the ETR rankings, you're not going to get Miles Sanders anymore. And he goes 105 here. We came out with Alvin Kamara. I mean, I like that as an individual pick, but yeah, stacking the Saints is going to be really difficult.
Um, okay, first 7 picks here: CMC, Zeke, Saquon, Kamara, Miles Sanders, as Evan alluded to, going extremely high. Michael Thomas, Travis Kelce, George Kittle. Yeah, I actually think I prefer Joe Mixon and the big dog to Miles Sanders, and probably Dalvin Cook too, who just went. But I can certainly see the case for Miles Sanders. I think when they sign someone, I don't think it's going to be a big effect on Miles Sanders, but at least be perceived to be, and that's when I would take him at him when his ADP drops, right? Like let's say they sign Devontae Freeman or something like that. Then you'll be able to get Miles Sanders at 1.12 or 2.2 or something like that because people are going to downgrade him. So I think that's where I would be waiting to get Miles Sanders maybe later after they sign someone, if they do sign someone. Travis Kelce 7th, George Kittle 8th, Dalvin Cook 9th, Joe Mixon 10th. Very running back heavy as expected here.
And with the 2 stud tight ends, they go very quickly.
Yeah, one thing that's unique about FFPC is obviously tight end premium is unique, but also the fact you only have to start 2 wide receivers, and that just pushes running backs up the draft board so much. You can see FFPC ADP on our site. We have continuously updating ADP for all kinds of different formats, but it's especially stark the running backs how high they go in FFPC. I don't know if that's Paul or Evan, but can one of you turn off your phone?
That's me. My phone just updated, and I can't figure out how to get the damn pinging to stop. It started like 2 hours ago, and I'm like,
all right, Devontae Adams went at 11 here.
Turn off my phone.
Kenyon Drake at 12. The big dog has not gone, Evan. What do you think about
big dog is not gone?
What do you think about in this format, Dalvin, Mixon, and Kenyon Drake ahead of the big dog? It is full PPR.
I'm fine with Dalvin ahead of him. I think Sanders. I think Derrick Henry is going to be an every down back this year. We talked about this, I think, on the Barnwell podcast, that he has a real chance of being a true every down back, catch 35, 40 passes. And in that event, where he's not catching 20 like he has, that's going to add a lot of value. And he's a guy who has averaged a lot of yards per reception in his career as well. Again, people do not like to tackle him in space. And I love him. I think he might, he's positioned to have his best season ever. And people think that, it's going to be hard to come back down from last year. And I understand that. There he goes at 2.01. That's an excellent start there for Jordy at the turn, Kenyon Drake and Derrick Henry at 112 and 2.01.
Yeah. So as Evan mentioned, if you draft at the ends, and specifically if you draft at the end of the first round, you can, get a lot of RB starts. And the chalk construction this year is going to be these RB starts. And then you guys are going to see the sick wide receivers that are available in the mid rounds. Like Evan and I are going to be targeting Adam Thielen and Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin and all these guys that go in like the 4th, 5th round, Calvin Ridley. There's so many wide receivers in the middle rounds that we think have a really good chance to end up among the top 5, top 6, top 7 fantasy wide receivers this year. So when you start RB, you set yourself up to capitalize on that middle round value at wide receiver. And then we can come back at running back. And, Pat Kerrane did a great job talking about historical hit rates. Rounds 4 through 6 is really not where you typically want to be drafting running backs. You typically want to either take them early, those are the best hit rates, or wait until round 7 through 10. And then after round 10, it starts to get really messy at running back. So a lot of the guys Pat Kerrane identified in round 7 through 10, you can come back on after you start RB and then fill out wide receiver and tight end, then come back on some of those guys. I think that is the chalk construction and probably my preferred construction for this year. I don't know that we're going to be able to start RB here unless we reach a little bit at running back, but we'll see. But that's kind of, I think, the big difference between drafting where we are at 1.04 and drafting at 1.12.
And we just saw a big running back run there. Kenyon Drake at 112, 201 Derrick Henry, 202 Aaron Jones, 203 Josh Jacobs. All those guys are at risk of, at least either some regression or, not catching a lot of passes. But the running back thirst, as we've discussed, from the beginning, and we had to actually adjust our own rankings to account for the running back thirst. Not that, we're trying to chase the ADP, but more that we need to be more in line with the market. and we're seeing that effect come into play here.
Yeah, I want to quickly talk about how we came to our top 300 ranks for this FFPC format. Baked in are Evan's top 150 rankings. Baked in is a little bit of ADP from FFPC because you don't want to be too far away from the market. And then also it's obviously adjusted for 10M premium. It's adjusted for only having to start 2 wide receivers. It's adjusted for double flex. So for all our rankings, we have so many rankings. This last year we only had Evan's top 150. This year we have rankings for super flex, for Dynasty, for auction, for half PPR, full PPR, non-PPR, FFPC, NFFC, any rankings you want. We have them adjusted here. Juju Smith-Schuster at 2.05, Evan. That is extremely early for Juju Smith-Schuster. I like Juju Smith-Schuster. I think you can probably wait and get him, but Green Bay started Kittle, Juju Smith-Schuster. Feels a little early to me.
Hoping that Julio goes to us. We got 2 more. Nope, there he goes. Of course he does.
Yeah, so it's going to be Our next in our rankings are Hopkins, Godwin.
This 104 start, man. Hate this.
Hopkins, Godwin, Edwards-Helaire, Eckler, Cooper, Connor are our next guys that are up. I'm low on Chris Godwin this year for reasons concerning the game scripts and wild shootouts that went down last year. Oh, we're on the clock, actually. We have 51 seconds. Chris Godwin went. So it's Hopkins, Edwards-Helaire, Eckler, Amari Cooper, James Conner. I don't think we have a chance to get a running back in the next round if we don't take one of Edwards-Helaire, Eckler, or James Conner.
I'm thinking Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah. And I'm fine with that. I want exposure to KC.
And this positions us to potentially have a Chiefs stack as well.
I like it. I think we both think that Damian Williams is probably going to play more than most people think. That doesn't mean that Clyde Edwards-Helaire can't pay off, especially if you look at historical usage rates of first-round running backs. So I'm fine with Edwards-Helaire here, specifically from a positional scarcity perspective.
Took him.
And so now that we started RB, as you guys can see here, we're set up to do a lot of that stuff that we already talked about. We have flexibility. If we want to create a cheap stack with Patrick Mahomes, we can. If we want to pound the wide receiver position, we can. And we're going to see a ton of wide receiver value coming up. And I do like James Conner too, for the record.
Yeah, so do I. DeAndre Hopkins just was not willing to take him that early, but Hy-Vee's crunchers there at 211 took DeAndre Hopkins. Again, changing teams in a year with no practice time between him and Kyler Murray I think it's terrifying. But he continues to go. I would say his ADP has moved down a little bit, but he continues to go as a lock, surefire second-round pick.
Yeah. Evan now has Allen Robinson ahead of DeAndre Hopkins in his rankings, which I think a lot of people think is a hot take, but I think it's certainly possible. I mean, especially if Big Dick Nick can get his game going.
Yep. So
yeah, we have Adam Thielen.
We're at the 2-3 turn right now. Lamar Jackson goes at 212.
Yeah, so I think that means if we want to create a Chiefs stack, we're going to have to take Mahomes here. It's not. I would never take a QB high this high normally. However, if you're looking to create stacks, and we would have to come back with Sammy Watkins or Mecole Hardman, we'd have to be sure we got those guys if we went with Mahomes here.
And I would be fine with taking Patrick Mahomes in the 3rd round. I would prefer Amari Cooper, though. He's the highest rated guy in the FFPC applet. So he probably won't make it back to us, but if he does, I think that's the guy that we should take. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like Amari. Obviously, some of the games he had last year really scared me. Like when he got benched on the stretch, and I know he was hurt a little bit.
He got benched.
I know, but he was banged up. But it was that he had some real air balls last year.
I mean, he also had some week winning weeks.
Oh yeah, that's Amari's story.
He's the number 1 receiver in a top 5 passing offense.
Yeah,
that I think could be even more efficient with minus Jason Garrett.
Yeah. Led the NFL in yards per play last year, added CeeDee Lamb, obviously Michael Gallup. There goes Leonard Fournette.
Thank you for taking Leonard Fournette. High V's.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of creating a Chiefs stack here. What do you think?
I would prefer Amari Cooper.
Okay.
I mean, just whenever I have these drafts and I decide to go late on quarterback, and I mean, I almost always like my teams coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think creating a stack perspective, though, the argument would be from Mahomes, but I agree with you that there's so many late round quarterbacks. I like Wentz, I like Stafford, I like Danny Dimes, I like Roethlisberger, I like Burrow, I like Bridgewater.
I like Garoppolo.
Evan likes, yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's certainly an argument to be made for that. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Amari Cooper here. People do not like Amari Cooper that much.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I mean, and there's no chance we could get him on the comeback. So, I mean, I think we take Amari Cooper here.
Okay.
We start RB wide receiver.
There goes Todd Gurley. Yeah, like Fournette and Gurley are just like glad not to be on those guys. Like I'm glad to be away from being forced into those decisions. And I actually probably would have taken James Conner over both Fournette and Gurley for me.
I think we take Amari Cooper here and we lock in like a ton of receptions with Alvin Kamara, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Amari Cooper as our first 3 picks.
Yeah, and we could find our way into a Dak stack maybe.
Yes.
All right, Amari Cooper is in.
Yeah, last year, my best FFPC main event team, this is not main event, but this is Football Guys, and it's a very similar format. My best FFPC main event team had the Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper stack.
I'm going to crack open a beer here.
Nice. Wow, Adam drinking some beers.
This is going to be a long night. Freaking 20-round season long.
What is the most surprising pick so far? It might have been Juju at 205, even though that aligns with our rankings, but just based on normal drafting tendencies, probably Juju Smith-Schuster at 205 has been the most surprising pick so far.
Yeah, and by the way, if you go to the site and you go to our FFPC rankings, we have a column for FFPC to ADP, and that's continuously updating, which I actually think is like super valuable. We have ADP coming in from all different sources that you guys can look at, depending on where you're drafting, and so yeah, you can see who's kind of off the radar, who's going off the reservation.
Mahomes went at 306. Lamar Jackson went at the 212 turn. So we see here that people are not afraid to take quarterbacks a little bit early.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing we did last year in these was, I don't want to say we, went too far with the tight end premium stuff, but I think we let it kind of cloud a lot of our decisions. I think this year, and I say this every year, and we hit on Darren Waller last year, and that was awesome. This year, I kind of like some late round tight ends again. I like Gesicki. I like Fant. I like Hawkinson. I like Herndon. I like Ian Thomas. I like Jarwin. So like, it's tight end premium. And, if you listen to the FFPC companion pod, we talked a lot about how much value there is in those top tight ends. They're also extremely, extremely expensive. So I don't know. It's definitely a game theory idea, but generally speaking, I do like some of the late round tight ends this year, probably more than I have in the past. Some of those guys, especially Gesicki. I hope we can get him.
Yep, and we see James Conner here go sort of toward the late portion of the middle of the third round, and I feel like we have had some influence on pushing him back up after he was a 4th and 5th round pick not too long ago. Mark Andrews goes at 309. Again, that is a signature of the tight end premium format. DJ Moore goes at 310. He's just a rock solid pick.
Yeah. By the way, we are going to cut off the free portion of this live stream after the 3rd round here. And for the rest of the draft, purchase the draft kit. It is, well, it depends when you watch this. It's either $30 or $35, and it comes with a $25 FFPC coupon. So pretty outrageous deal. I'm still furious. Evan insisted to keep it cheap. If it was up to me, it would be at least like $300. So yeah, get in there for that. Very, very cheap if you want to watch the rest of this draft. and see how it plays out for us.
Hopefully, well, I feel like we're off to a good start. Alvin Kamara, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Amari Cooper. Coming up in the 4th round, there's going to be a bunch of great picks available to us, I think.
What do you think about this team, Sandman, who started RB, RB, RB? And we've heard a lot of talk in the industry about like RB or robust instead of 0 RB, people starting like their first 4 rounds with all RBs. What do you think about that strategy this year?
I'm okay with it. I mean, I don't think that you're drafting for value. You're drafting for a specific strategy, and that's fine. And I just think that going into any draft, you should be open to almost any strategy, whether it be 0 RB, whether it be modified RB, 0 RB, whether it be robust RB, whether it be just, straight drafting for what you believe, you determine you believe is value. I think you should stay open, especially after the first few rounds. You sort of let what happens in the first few rounds dictate what is going to happen for the rest of your draft.